Hello and welcome to Chandra's Dota, the show where I describe Dota 2 characters to Chan, an artist with no Dota experience, so he has to draw them based solely on my description. Check the video description for a link to the completed drawing. In this episode, Beastmaster. Beastmaster's a burly, bearded, wild man wielding two hand axes. Much like Beastmaster from the Beastmaster movie or TV show, Beastmaster's white. He also has the ability to talk to animals, so he has a hawk friend and a boar friend. However, the boar looks nothing like a boar and more like a crazy cat monster, like half puma, half porcupine, but those aren't part of his model, so I'm not going to describe them. Beastmaster's a big-chested, muscly man. Big-chested is not something you should use to describe a male character or a female character. Beastmaster's a muscular guy, so he's got that power stance going. So his feet are shoulder width apart, which is really wide because he's got big shoulders on account of all of his muscles. And his arms are out at 45-degree angles because probably too many muscles. Also because it would look weird if he stood like a normal person. No video game character stands like a normal person. He holds his axes kind of weird in his hands, so each blade is at like a 45-degree angle inward towards his center. This is probably to make it easier to chop things or fucking throw his axes at people like boomerangs. Beastmaster's face is very stoic and stern, like he could be angry or he might just be a hard ass or something. He has glorious long brown hair that's swept back into either a fat ponytail or like a giant dread, like those people who have just one giant dread for hair. It could be that since he lives in the woods, probably. I don't know like haircut terms. It's tied towards the end with a large red band with gold trim. He also has a good-sized beard where the goatee area is a bit larger than usual and the sides kind of flare out. He has horns that come out in various places. Two come out in front of his ears and run closely along his jaw and stick out forward on either side of his chin. He has two coming out of his temples, which curve towards each other upwards and then away from each other near the top. And these are probably the length of his head. They also have red bands near their bases. He has four more coming out towards the back of his head, two on each side, curving upwards like double parentheses. All of these horns are the same, like brownish dark color as his hair, but these turn white at the very tips. Beastmaster has red tattoo or face paint that covers his forehead, eyes, and comes to a point on the tip of his nose. It almost looks like Batman's cowl, but it doesn't cover his whole nose. The edges are straight lines that go from his temple to the tip of his nose. He has black eyes with tiny white pupils, and he's shirtless mostly. He wears this little strange piece of clothing on his shoulders around his neck. It's too small to be called a mini cape or a mini poncho. It's like a circular thing with his head in the middle. It doesn't cover his entire shoulders, and it doesn't go like past his chest. It doesn't go like past his nipples. It's like he punched a hole in a small tablecloth and stuck his head through it. His tablecloth is dirty yellow and has a thick gray edge that's connected by very thick white stitches. Beastmaster has dark red swirly tattoos going up his left chest and down both of his shoulders and arms. He has forearm guards that are made of gray fur wrapped in dark brown cloth. These cover his entire forearms and the fur sticks out a lot. He also has like a gray fur wrap on his left bicep that covers most of his bicep, but the fur only sticks out of the top on that one. He has this giant, like, tombstone looking belt buckle. It's truly massive. Like, the top is above his belly button and the bottom is below his crotch. The size and general shape of it can be likened to Moses' tablets on the top of Mount Sinai from the Ten Commandments. Maybe a bit smaller, but still big enough to block his cock. I don't know how he pees wearing it. So the entire gray tombstone is covered by this lighter gray design. It's got a symmetrical wide squiggly design circled at the top half It's got 3 rectangles beneath on the bottom half. It kind of looks like a cartoon or very basic drawing of the Stanley Cup. The belt itself is plain brown and he has a white horn dangling off the back of his left hip. It's like a sound horn, but it also looks like it's made out of bone. So like an actual animal horn. Gray fur comes out underneath his entire belt, and he has 3 large rectangular pad looking things coming out from underneath the fur. There's 1 on each side of his legs and 1 smack dab on his ass. These are about as wide as his legs, and they don't quite reach his knees. They're dark brown, each having 3 gray stripes. Underneath that, he wears a knee-length, battered brown waist cape that's worn white around the edges. You can sometimes catch glimpses of his sensible gray boxer briefs behind the tombstone because he doesn't wear pants, and also because you're looking extremely closely at his groin. He wears brown boots with gray fur lining to make them look pretty. There are 2 strips of fur wrapped around the boot shafts and 1 strip on each boot going kind of from the instep to the heel. And that's true boot terminology, shafts and insteps and heel. His boots look like Uggs that a tween glued lace onto. They kind of look lame, or really cool if you're a tween. His axes are somewhat large for hand axes. They have big, thick, single-bladed battle axe heads, and they're kind of scraggly looking, if that makes sense. They have red grips that cover the bottom halves of the handles, and the handles are curved slightly in S shapes, with the tops angled back and the bottoms angled forward. They have handle tops poking out of the tops, and the heads are very thick. The blades are gray with very large white sharpened edges, and there are big crackly red crackles on the gray parts that don't touch the handles. They also have parts where the metal comes back through the handles underneath where it's connected at the top. That's Beastmaster. He's a horned, burly, wild Axeman with animal friends. He's a angry lumberjack, wild hobo. Every character's a hobo in this game.
Chan, here's the Beastmaster model for real.
Okay. Okay, so, alright. My immediate reaction is that he looks like the guy from Hercules.
Hercules?
The Danny DeVito. That's pretty much, yeah. The tombstone is too high on my guy. And it's much more, like, covering his crotch than I thought it would. It's pretty close, though. I mean... Doesn't he look like the Danny DeVito character? I actually do like the Dota one better. My guy looks like a regular human dressed up. Like a wrestler dressed up in an outfit. I need to get the sort of cartoonish like body structure down that Dota uses.
Oh
yeah. I think it's pretty close. It's as close as I should have been able to get.
yeah. ASL.